Hi everybody, it's me, Rogue Assassin here, coming with you with another What If again. And this What If will be joining my Five Nights at Freddy's What If, which is on my channel. You can check it out. But enough about Five Nights at Freddy's. If you don't know about this game, Bioshock, then you might want to pause the video, go check about a few laws or gameplay on how basically Bioshock works. Now, I'll be explaining some of the I think mechanics. I haven't played BioShock myself, but I've seen other people play it. So the first game, obviously, you are a person that finds their way into a city that is deep underwater. You are tasked with surviving, and basically that's it. You have to do certain missions. Certain people tell you to go here and there and kill people. That's it. You are also basically in this underwater city. People found in basically an underwater snail, which they have named this with a certain DNA. They named this. I think it was called atoms. They inject themselves with atoms that gives them supernatural powers such as fire, lightning. I think ice was no fire, lightning. I don't know the others that are part of this. Telekinesis, etc. But I'll be adding more abilities to this ability, like to the atoms that it will give you, and also it's obviously vice versa. Bioshock 2 is way different because this is the what if that I'll be going on. Bioshock 2, not Bioshock 1, just 2. So Bioshock 2 is the same, it's an underwater horror game, and your tasks are simple: survive, but you want a Alpha Series Daddy, I think it was called. And if you don't know what those are, their jobs are to be tanks, walking tanks, and protect children that are called little sisters. That has, gosh, I cannot remember this for the life of me. I'm gonna forget this names, or I'm gonna forget the name of this all the time. A um Yeah, the special abilities that the girls have running through their veins, and they're basically like cattle. And there are people that try to kill these girls for this, like basically atoms. There we go. I'm gonna forget that word the entire time through this what if. Yeah. So they try to steal the atoms from the girls, and that's what the big daddies are tasked for, protecting them. While the girls basically be cattle and do whatever they wish while the big daddy follows orders. Everybody under basically in the city water is, how can I say it, is injected with atoms. Some atoms are spliced, some atoms are reused. So yeah, a lot of mess happens underwater. But that's not what I want to focus on today. I am focusing on the I'm focusing on more on the My Hero Academia and the crossover between Anthem. How would this work? Well, let's start from the beginning on how this might work. If you played Anthem 2, you would know the end results, the two endings which you can choose, or the three endings. But we're going for one of the endings where basically if you didn't play through Anthem 2, or you then go do that now, or go watch some gameplay of the end result of Anthem 2. We're going with the one where they kill the mother, or whoever the person they killed at the end game, and instead of the Alpha Series Daddy, or gosh, I forgot his name, instead of him dying, he doesn't die, he just goes in a very deep hibernation, and the big sister and the little sister are basically free to wander the earth. Now this is taking place during the world of Quarks. So this is just at the very beginning of the world of Quarks. Now, this is how this what if is going to go. I'm going to follow the big sister's story life through the villain arc of the world of the beginning of the world of Quarks, how it is, and until UA or something happens where the little sister and the big sister get split up. And then that's where the what if shall begin. Exactly when they get split up. Or it will begin with the big sister dying. One of the two. You never know. Remember, this is no script. I am doing this off the top of my head, and let's begin. No editing either, so yeah, it's impressive. I'm kind of impressed with the videos that I've been doing so far. It's only been getting better, and I've only been getting better at doing this. The support is on fire. Thank you for all the comments down below, and let's begin because I'm stalling for long enough. As we cut to basically on top of the earth, not underwater, we cut to when the big sister and little sister were just leaving, as they found themselves in this new world. They don't know nothing about this new world, and they have to adapt quickly. There are villains at every corner. This is the era of villains, and the beginning of quirks, where everything goes to chaos, and the birth of one for all and all for one, as these two girls have to survive their way in this horrifying land as a woman in basically underwater dive suit armor, old dive suit armor, and a girl survives in this villainless land, in this villain land with no order, as everything is chaos. Some people are screaming, you can see people crying in the hallways, you can hear explosions. It's just terrible as they are trying to survive their longest, as they find a place to stay. Uh, Big Sister has finally started getting money. Well, she has to become a villain for that, as it's the only way that she can make a living, as she started making a machine. She didn't want to be in the suit anymore, but she couldn't just remove the suit. So she started making something that would help her tremendously, but there's a risk, as she starts making this machine slowly, as the knowledge that she knows is very limited, but with the more she researched and studied, and the more things she experimented with the atoms that she has, yes, in this change, the big sisters are still able to produce atoms on their own instead of just the little sister, so yeah. And also quick statement, both of them are immortal. Just throwing that in there. As the big sister is testing something, as she finally got it to work. As she tested this 3 times, 4 times, even just with another human, but she killed that human afterwards. As it was finally ready. The thing that she's been waiting all these years ago, to convert back to a human self. But there's a risk and a price, as she needs to get some DNA from. And okay, quick statement, this is the beginning of quirks, so that means the two sisters that you see here have quirks. The little sister has a quirk, the big sister has a quirk, and that's why she's so smart, because it's the intelligence quirk. As she draws some blood, as she also, I wouldn't say no, she doesn't draw some blood. She basically draws some, gosh, I forgot the thing again. The name of the name of the thing that they inject themselves with is either, no. I'll remember it, as she draws some of that thing as he injects it in the machine, as something explodes on the top building, as she rushes upstairs, as she sees this basically villains, with one villain entering the building as they are basically throwing things around everywhere, left, right, center, as they are looking around for things, as they find like a safe, as they are picking it, as the little sister is upstairs, she's hiding, as big sister comes out, as they just see this hulking thing that's like basically diving suit, as they start firing at using their quirks at it, as now big sister and the villains are getting into a fight, as one of the guys go upstairs, as they're dealing with a quirk, like some of these guys have quite incredible quirks, as but they still can't handle her, as they all get thrown outside the building, as we see a man in a suit approach, as he smiles, as he's like, oh, who might you be? As she turns around quickly, as all you see is this like woman in a diving suit, her entire like lighting goes red as she stares at this man, as she's like, my, you will be interesting. What type of quirk do you have? As he reaches out for her, as she doesn't know what to do, as she jumps back immediately, as basically keeping a distance for now, as she's walking around, basically just standing in front of the house, as he's like, that won't do, as this person, mystery person, disappears, appears behind her, and yes, he can do that, because you should know, this time he's not injured, and this time he's basically have his full body, and he's not injured, so he can do this, as he grabs the girl by the head, as she starts squirming, as basically people that they look through the building again. They didn't find the cabinet yet, as they find a girl, as she's screaming for help, as she's trying to get out of this man's grip. She just can't, as he's like, my, don't worry, this will be quick, as all for one can, as yes, this is all for one, but not injured all for one beginning, so this is the beginning of all for one, as all for one's looking through what type of quirk this person has, as he can only find an intelligence quirk, and that's it, as all for one's like, is that it? Now, what ability are you using? As basically all for one is just like trying to rip open the thing, as basically she's struggling to get out, as she uses one of her flame abilities, basically scoring all for one, as he scores her on his left hand, as he jumps back, as they took basically the little sister, as all for one basically stabs her, basically in rage stabs her. When they get the little girl, they says, we're going, leave her to die here, as basically all for one stabbed her, threw her into the building, as she flew right basically through the floor into the basement, as she basically now has no choice because otherwise she'll die, as she injects some of her spliced and all of her basically she basically injects using her own spliced DNA, and yeah, gosh, I am trying to think of the word here. I keep on thinking like the first word I think of is anthem. I know that's not the word that it is. Um, uh, question mark. I don't know the name of it anymore. Okay, forget it. I said I was gonna forget the name constantly. As she's making a clone of herself, a perfect clone DNA of herself, but here's the trade-off. She is anyway going to die. The trade-off was if she did this, she was gonna die. And now she's just basically full throttle. She's gonna die anyway. She's doing this now. She basically she makes a clone of herself, but this clone takes a while. This clone takes a while, so it stays inside that basically container for a while. As we skip a long, long time ago to the world, to basically the time of heroes, where the symbol of peace is All Might, and the birth of Izuku Midoriya has to happen. As Inko basically had abortion, or not abortion, basically she couldn't have a baby. Her baby died. She was devastated as Hisashi left Inko, as she has nothing. As Inko is sitting in a new renovated house that has been renovated specifically for her, she's pretty rich. Why is she rich? She does hero work. So her quirk is not basically float or basically whatever they gave Inko's quirk to be out in the anime. Inko's quirk is telekinesis, just purely telekinesis. So yes, she's a hero. She has also powerful telekinesis, so she's a hero. A pro hero. Let's say not top 10 worth, but top 20 worth of pro heroes. As basically, I would say that she is competing now with. She's basically just competing with top 10. She's trying to get in top 10. So once she gets in top 10, she's top 10. Yeah. So, yeah, she's just sitting at home as she's crying, sulking, as she basically lost her husband and she basically can't get an basically can't give birth again. And I know that's not possible, but she can't give birth. I mean, she gave birth like during like as I said, she did try to give birth, but it failed as she's basically sulking, crying as we go down underneath this building into the basically the basically underground basically bunker that was built by the big sister and now is Deku. Deku's a girl in this one, as Deku is as a child is waking up in this container as he starts crying as it's pretty muffled, but it he cries loud enough for somebody to hear him. As it's very muffled, but Inko can hear crying as he looks around, wondering where that noise is coming from. As she doesn't even know like where the noise is even coming from in the first place. As she walks like towards the stairs, as Inko has a house, not an apartment, so as she walks towards the stairs, as she walks basically past the stairs somewhere near the laundry room and stop. She turns halfway, like in the middle, as she can basically she's a bit more closer now. As she bends down, as she doesn't know who's crying, as she can hear it underneath the floor. As when she pushes the floor, it's like a bit creaky, like there's something there. As yeah, she's gonna be going through some digging. First, she needs to knock over a wall. She gets a sledgehammer and gets to work because she's curious on what's the sound that she's hearing. As she basically breaks like into the basically the stairs, as now she has to go down. As she starts basically going down, as she hits the floor once and the wood just snaps. As she basically the wood just breaks as she doesn't fall in, but the wood that she just hit just falls right in. She can see a ladder going down. She goes down this ladder as it's pretty dusty, as there's webs like in the corners. She's like, I didn't know this was under my house. I better get the land. I better get the person that I basically built this house on, and see if they can like do fill in whatever this basically hole is. As she walks around, as she can see, it looks like some type of like used to be some type of factory, underground factory. As she sees this suit lady with something pierced in her chest, as it's just suit with something pierced in its chest, as it's basically over a basically terminal. As she looks around, as she touches the terminal, as the machine turns on, as Izuku stopped crying by now, so she stopped hearing the things, but she was curious, so she found this place. As the lights turn on in everywhere, as you can see the containers, the one container, as it has a baby girl Izuku, as it's written in blood, basically written in basically blood, to raise her and protect her, obviously, by this thing, the suit of armor that she believed to be a dead human. She's stunned, obviously, but she's looking at the child, as the child was like crying, like has been there for a while now. She puts as like one of the fingers are over one button, as on top is written in blood open, as she basically presses the button, as the container of Izuku's opens, as yeah, Izuku comes out. As obviously normal born baby, nothing weird, and also has a quirk. Well, you can't tell that he has a quirk, and you can't tell that his quirk is active. As as basically Inko decides to take care of this child because she doesn't have a child to call her own, and this thing or person put this baby in this container that's like been here for a while, as now she has to take care of this child for this dead person. As she picks up the suit of bones and armor, as she takes it out with her, and basically there is like a backyard, as she buries it near buries the body near a tree, as now she's taking care of a baby that she knows nothing about, and she doesn't even know what it is. But it seems like a normal baby to her, so she's fine with it. As she sealed off that place again, as like no one's gonna go down there, like ever. As Izuku doesn't remember anything, that's also another backlash. Even if that is a clone of the big sister, he doesn't remember anything until his quirk activates. And the spliced a something, the splice a something, the splice a something activates. I'm just gonna say spliced a something because I don't know the name. I said I'm not gonna know this name for the entire what if. I said that and I stay by that. As Inko is taking care of Izuku now. As now it's basically same race. Basically everything goes the same, but Izuku's a girl in this one. As same thing with Kachan, with the waterfall thing. As same thing as well with the bullying. As this time the doctors do say he has a quirk, they just say they don't know when this quirk will show itself. So he does have a quirk. It is activated, but the doctors don't know when it basically the quirk will show itself. Basically, it will basically do something. The quirk will make something happen. They don't know when it will happen. So yeah. So everybody, basically, Izuku does tell them that he has a quirk, as he explains them in a childish way, what a child would know in a childlike matter. what he knows, but everyone just like after a while, everyone just considered him quirkless. As this basically got Izuku down, but Izuku knows he has a quirk. As we're gonna do a time skip here. As actually, we're not gonna do a time skip. We're gonna go flashback to the little sister. What happened to her? Well, let's time travel back to when the little sister was taken by One For All. As the little sister was taken by One For All, uh, she was feisty, very feisty. One For All wasn't in the same vehicle, but she was struggling a lot as she used the rewind quirk, her rewind quirk on somebody and turned back to the basically on point of birth. She used it on the door and she just went flying out. Actually, no, scratch that. That never happened. She was taken. She didn't use a quirk yet, as she was captive in a cell while All For One experimented on her and basically used a rewind quirk for experiments and stuff, as he's trying to make Nomu. As All For One learns a lot of things, but she escapes by using her quirk, Rewind, rewinding the bars, rewinding everything just to make her escape, as this is the time. And the reason why All For One didn't stop her is because he can't, and he can't basically do anything. And if you're wondering why All For One didn't heal himself with Evie, All For One only knows, like, All For One doesn't know what will happen if he basically Evie rewinds his body back. He might lose all the quirks that he has gained, so he doesn't want that to happen. So he rather like keep like his quirks and keep his basically state, but he was considering it. He was desperate because of like um because of All Might's last battle. He was desperate, and Eri can tell. So Eri made her escape. She escaped and ended up into another villain's hands. Yes, it's Eri, obviously. If you didn't tell, rewind quirk, seriously. Eri's the little sister. She was also captured by the infamous Overhaul. As that will take place as in canon when it comes. When it comes. And actually not as in canon, but that will take place. As Overall is still using Eri in the same way. But this time Eri's immortal. And she heals pretty fast. So yeah. And also she's not like a little girl forever. But until she reunites with her big sister, then she'll be a child until she reunites with her big sister. Yes, because number one, this is also another change. The big sister and little sister have a bond that if they are not basically with each other, they will stay that age until they reunite with one another. And then once the sister's a certain age, little sister, then she will stay that age. So yeah, they're both immortal in that common sense and logic, as Eri is basically being used by overalls same way as in canon. Now time skip to when Izuku is final day of school, still wants to go to the UA. Nothing changes. Everyone still bullies Izuku, even if Izuku's a girl. They still bully her. Oh yeah, this is Inko by the way. Yeah, this is the hero Inko by the way. I don't know hero name. Comment down below if you want to give Inko a hero name. Comment a hero name down below. As they don't really care if Izuku's a girl or not. They still bully her because she's quirkless. Especially the girls. Because they're jealous. They're jelly. And yeah, so nothing is changing really. Not much changes. Izuku still can't use his quirk because number one, he doesn't know what quirk he has. Even though he has the oh gosh, the virus, the thing that they inject themselves with. No, I can't get the name. Hold up, give me a minute. Okay, I got the name. I got the name. The sun. There we go. I was thinking of this name for a few minutes now, and it took me a while. I basically went to go search it. I saw the name, read the name, and then forgot it 2 seconds once I was about to start recording again. And then I just went back and did it again. It's Adam. So, yeah, the stuff they use is Adam, which can give multiple abilities, and I'm gonna give more abilities to them because seriously, um, I'm counting 3 abilities is not enough. I have to give them more. As yeah, Izuku doesn't know about this ability because he doesn't know how it works and how would his quirk work. He doesn't expect it would work this way. So yeah, let's begin. So no, let's just continue. I don't know where I stopped. I stopped at explaining Izuku's quirk and why everyone hates him. Statement: Inko is a hero. She is not going to become the Inko that is the original canon. Yeah, as basically Izuku is taking the entrance exam. He's still going to My Hero Academia. As Izuku is starting to train. He starts training on Dekoba Beach without. He doesn't need All Might. If you're wondering what happened to the Sludge Villain, I don't do the Sludge Villain on much of my what ifs because I think there was no need. Because if I'm not gonna give Deku one for all, then there's no need for me to add the Sludge Villain in the whole Sludge scene. Let's just say All Might saved Bakugo instead of Midoriya. So yeah. So the whole Sludge Villain scene does not happen. If I do a sludge villain scene, it's either because it's needed to make the story work or something else. Now, let's continue. As Izuku is training, cleaning up the beach, uh, Bakugo will not be getting one for all. Hold up, let me just think on this for a minute. Yeah, Bakugo will not be getting one for all. I was thinking now an easier way for Izuku and All Might to meet, but this is the easiest way without the sludge villain incident. So yeah, as Izuku is just cleaning up the beach, as this trash has been here for a while, so it's rusted. There's rust. As he's cleaning up the trash, little by little, as All Might basically sees this in his small might form, and basically is not cheering on, he basically thanks the young one, because he was about to do it himself, but yeah, Izuku's just doing it now. As after Izuku, like a few minutes of Izuku digging, he finds basically this rusted, like this glass rusted helmet. You can't take it off or you can't pick it up because it's attached to something. As he's like, whatever it is, I'll find out later. As he keeps on moving trash. And this is taking weeks, by the way. Weeks, days. As he moved all the trash and built up a bit of muscle. He's also been running. As the final trash piece of trash he moves is a metal big plate. As he moves off of this helmet. As he sees a suit. He's like, what the? Is this a dead body? As he touches the thing is filled with something, as he does not know what. He can't take the helmet off. He can't take anything off of this thing. It's like attached to this thing. And he's oddly. This is like. For him, it's deja vu. As when he states, like, this feels like deja vu, he basically gets a small memory glimpse of basically the Big Daddy. As he sees this, as he sees a small girl behind this thing with a drill, as he blinks again, he's like, what the? Uh, my head's. It hurts. As this is the spliced reused atoms that is playing in effect. It's basically memory atoms. They already have memory in it, so it's bringing back some of his memory, but not a lot of it. As he's like, "What are you?" As Izuku decides to take this with home, as he picks this thing up with it in a trailer, as he's taking this thing home, as he has a garage, as he basically takes this thing in through the garage instead of the house. So he's hiding it in the garage for now. As he's busy like with basically eating she. If I've been saying he this entire time, forgive me, because my mind is off to the moon and I don't think I'm realizing what some of my things that I'm saying. So forgive me if I said he, it's she, not a he. As she was having dinner with her mother, as her mother asked what was happening today, as she tells her mother how that she finally cleaned up Deku Beach and actually is gonna start a training on the beach soon. As basically her mother congratulates her, obviously, as her mother offers her to train Izuku. As she accepts because she's getting trained by another her mother, the number 11th hero. Yeah, 11 hero. Not she's not top part of the top 10, but she's close enough. As Izuku, like instead of going to sleep, Izuku's told her mother that she found something and she's just like checking it out. As she enters, as she looks around this machine thing, as she's like, "What are you?" As she's pittering around with it, like looking like she's messing with the thing, lifting the thing up, like lifting its hands up, um, checking if the drills still work, which she can't activate the drill. As this thing has a bunch of other weapons on it, like machine gun, rifle, machine gun, flamethrower, and I think a shotgun, sort of shotgun. But the problem is, it could only fit on the basically the drill's hand. It always a fit on the drill's hand. As it has nothing on it. As he's wondering if this is a dead person. Because he can't take any of this stuff off. He can't take the helmet off. He can't take the pants, the shoes, nothing. Not even the drill she can like remove. As basically she's befuddled as she just goes to sleep. As I'm gonna say she starts her training with her mother while working on this on the sidelines. As she made no progress with this thing whatsoever. As UA comes finally, as she has to go to UA now. She has trained with her mother, so she has a chance. Not big of a chance, but a chance. As the last day of UA comes, basically day is, as she's messing with this thing in the basically in the basically in the garage, as her mother calls her, as her mother sees what she's working on, as she looks basically like at this towel thing. Like Izuku covered this thing because Izuku's working on it, so she covered it. As Inko asked what Izuku was working on, as Izuku's like, I found a suit thing with a weird diver's old helmet that didn't want to come off. I don't know what it was, so I'm just looking around at it. As basically, she's thinking of the description. She found, like, Izuku found this weird suit thing, as she thinks back to the suit thing she found in the basement with a diver's helmet that couldn't come off. As Inko asks, what else did it have? As basically, Izuku said it had a real big drill on it. As I couldn't take that thing off either. It had a really big, as the drill went blank, as basically on its arm. So she just bleeped out the drill as she remembered the thing had something on its arm. As she asked, and what arm was that attached on? It's attached to its this arm. As basically all she can think of is that thing that she's like that suit thing that she buried. All she can think of just is that. She can't think of anything else. As she slowly starts, basically she asks Izuku, "Can I see?" As she's like, "Sure, pull it off." As she pulls it off, and she's in her head, she's like, "No, not wait, no way, another one." As it's basically a similar made of the body that she saw. This is the big sister, the one she found in the basement when she basically found Izuku. As Izuku found the Big Daddy Alpha, basically Alpha series. As they're different because this one's bigger, bulkier, and basically made to be a tank with a drill. As the difference with this one, as the difference on that one is, this suit was made for a man, the other one suit was made for a woman. As you can tell, because this one's the Big Daddy Alpha series. So like it was human experiments, it was human like men experiments, as the like Big Sister series were basically female women, if you understand that. So the Big Daddy, like the test subjects for the Big Daddy suits were men, females, Big Sisters. That's the difference here. As also, the difference is they use the little sisters. When they grow up, they become the big sisters. So they use them as well. That's the difference here as well. Or that's the law. It's what I'm thinking of. But correct me if I'm wrong. I know there's going to be someone that's an intellectual down in the comments down below explaining everything about basically Bioshock Part 2 and 1 and even the third game if you so wish. So let's begin. Continue. As Inko is kind of not terrified. She's terrified, yes, she's terrified. But she's also shocked at the same time. As basically Zuko went to go sleep. At, as it started raining, as Inko grabbed the shovel and walked to the tree where she buried the suit. As she starts digging, as she digs the suit out, brings it back in, and puts it like not like on another table right beside this thing, as the Big Daddy, as he's like, "What are yous? And why?" And like, "What are yous?" Because number one, her daughter was basically with one of those things, whatever the things are that she thinks, as Izuku just found another one. As Inko is like getting like Inko is wondering if there's a bigger story behind this. Did something happen somewhere in the past? That's why this thing, two things are here. And is Izuku tied to anything big that she needs to know? She's just thinking this. She calls UA. As the first person she calls is Principal Nezu. As Principal Nezu answers, as he's sipping tea as well, as he's like, unnamed hero. You need to give it a, need to give her a name. As Principal Nezu is like, Inko, yes, you call me at this very suspicious and rainy day. I found something, Nezu. Remember the child that I told you that I found in an abandoned underground building that had a dead body with that had a dead that had a suit that was impaled and had a dead body in it. And this child was just in a water, basically a container, like it was being grown, like tested on. As Principal Name was like, yes, I've heard the story that you told me, and you keep on reminding me that. Well, my daughter, she found another thing like that. As Principal Name was like, oh, now that's interesting. You showed me the last time, but I wonder, how different are they? It's like basically Principal Nezu can tell like if there's another one like it, are they different? Like Principal Nezu is trying like trying to put puzzles together now. You know, you can tell like through Inko's words, you can like tell what Inko is explaining of how this thing looks and where Izuku found this thing. There is a bigger story here, and and something happened in the past for them to be like, for those things to be like this, humans to look like this. As Principal Nezu immediately rushed over to Izuku's house, as he's basically scanning over, looking over the machine, the Big Daddy machine, as he looks over the drill, as basically Principal Nezu says, it seems like this thing has been here for a while, so Izuku found it long before you knew. As Inko's like, basically gives the day on when Izuku started going more into basically the workplace, to basically test something, he states, work on something, as that's what Izuku was working on. As Principal Nezu is like, he found this, as he's made no progress on basically taking any of this stuff off. As this is the dead, basically the big sister that Inko had to re-dig up after all these years. As Principal Nero is like, interesting. Tell Izuku that UA would like to see these two machines or things, as we would like to examine them. As basically her mother's like, okay. As it's the next morning, Principal Nezu is there still. He arrived early mornings to catch Izuku. As Principal Nezu explains, no, he doesn't explain anything. He just says that UA needs the two suits. They just want to do some like experiments, see like what's like why these two are so similar, and how these suits came to be. Basically, making up a lie. As Izuku's like, oh sure, fine, go ahead, take them both. Take the thing. I take it. I don't think I've made any headway anyway. Spencer is like, thank you. It's much appreciated. If you're wondering why they don't take the helmets off, because the helmets are basically they are permanently, they are stuck on basically the big sister and big daddy's head. They're basically stuck, so they can't remove the helmets. They can't, because unless you want to break something. As Principal Nezu is going to do some DNA testing and see what they can find. At the same time, Principal Nezu asks for the DNA of Izuku, because number one, Izuku was found with one of these suits as well. Izuku doesn't know why she has to give her DNA, but she's gonna do it anyway, and a blood, basically blood, as they are going to do some testing with the suit and the stuff that as the blood and that Izuku gave them. As Izuku doesn't know what for, but sure, they can go ahead. As now we actually time skip to a moment that happened. Like we do it like small backtrack to the basically when before Principal Nezu came to see the suits. As Izuku is busy working on this thing, as Izuku cuts himself, as he's like, ow, damn, that hurts. As basically blood drips on this machine, or Big Daddy, as basically it touched its right shoulder, as it seeps through this clothes, thick clothes, as when Izuku basically went to go get a bandage, um, the Big Daddy started to move slowly. As you can see the light flicker on, off, on, off, on, off, on, as it turns red, as it looks to the side, slowly turns its head, as it turns on, as it like basically the red light shines through it, as it turns yellow, and then turns off. As basically the thing stopped moving after then. At the same time, something else happened. As Izuku was busy like basically shaking his hand in the air to take away the basically pain he feels. He was moving the water that his mother had basically placed in the washing. He was basically moving water that was in the dish, basically washing dishes. As while he was moving his hand, he was also moving the water. As his eyes started glowing yellow, just for a second, as when he blinked, it just turned back. As yeah, some of his powers slowly starting to come to him now. As Izuku continues working on the thing and goes to sleep. Everything happens like with the mothers, checking the robot, digging up the little sister, same thing. As this thing was hauled off all the way to UA. And yeah, as nothing different happens there. Final day, Izuku goes, and everything happens in canon. Izuku doesn't trip, so doesn't meet Ochako. Um, Izuku still gets the entrance exam. Bakugo's still a jerk as always, and that's it. We're gonna stop it there because I am 52 minutes in, and that's it for now because I don't want to hit an hour. So remember, this is another horror one that will be side by side Five Nights at Freddy's, my animatronic What If, which is on pause right now. As I'll catch you all next time on the next What If that I do, and or the next What If that I do. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to catch all my videos, all those jazz, and also most importantly, give the name for Inko's hero. Give the hero name for Inko because I can't do much without Inko's hero name. But before we go off, I'm gonna leave you with this quick part. As we flashed with dark room, as we see Overhaul walking into this room, as he opens the door, as he says, Evie, it's time to go. Be a good girl and don't resist. As basically two men are behind him, as in the shadows, you see this girl with yellow eye. You see this girl open her eyes, blink again, as she has yellow eyes. As it fades away into the darkness, as that's it for now, guys. Until next time, see all of you rogue weebs later. Bye.